Yay!
Yay!
Welcome back, dearest gentle listeners. Today we are having part 2 of our season 4 talk, and Kay is back.
Whoop, whoop.
Yay, we're so happy.
Yay.
So this episode we are talking more season 4 theories. Kay is going to share with us what she missed last time, which is what she's thinking about season 4. And then we're going to talk about some of the side characters and some of the other things we expect. So strap in. It's going to be a good one.
Slay indeed. That was so good. Well, to kick off, Kay,
I missed you.
welcome back.
I missed you. Your eyebrows look really good, by the way.
You?
I'm like distracted by how good they look. I have a thing with eyebrows. I'm so sorry.
No, I love that.
So, Kay, tell us your season 4 theories.
Okay. I don't have a lot because I don't want to have speculation and be like deceived by the season or anything. So, yes, I read all the idea people have and everything, but I just want to be surprised by the season, so I don't have many idea, but maybe a few because I read the book. So it's sure I have some idea of what I want to see, like everyone told the lake scene, like everyone want to see that. Me too, because like Luke Thompson getting out of the river. I mean,
Yeah.
I can say no to that. it's sure.
Yeah.
But I don't have, for real, I don't have a lot of speculation about it, so I may not have a lot to add to the subject. For real.
Did you ever think it was going to be someone else other than Benedict?
It was between Benedict and Eloise for me. But I was pretty sure it was going to be Benedict just because of the masquerade ball. So it was too foreshadowing to be anyone else. And since we already skipped Benedict one season, if they do that 2 times, fans will not be happy about it. So I'm kind of glad it's him, but I think they will try to incorporate something for Eloise too, like they do with their friend last season. So
yeah, and we will get to that. I'm also curious because we talked about like who we think Sophie could be. So who do you think Sophie could be?
I know there's some speculation about that right now. Some names started circulating online on X, Twitter, or even Thread. I think I saw some name on Thread on Tumblr too. It's not people I know about. It's like, but it's correct. It's newcomer or people know, but outside of the UK and the US. So it's I prefer that to be honest, because having someone who is already known for another big project. No, I like that they introduce new people because it's a big show, so it's a new opportunity for them. So
absolutely.
It's been really exciting because you've been dropping some potential casting options in the Discord.
Yeah.
And just like going through the pictures of the actresses, you start imagining already like how they are as a character and what clothes they're gonna wear. And I don't know, as like a fangirl, you just need one little piece of like a tiny crumb, like one picture, and you're just creating these like full-blown episodes in your head. And it's so nice in the Discord to be able to like be delulu.
I know there's a lot of people talking about Jessie Maylie, the one who played Alina in Shadow and Bones, which is I know she's already known, but just on one Netflix show. So it's likely like Nicolas, who was just on Dairy Girl. So it's okay. Or Simone, who was in Sex Education. It's like the same thing. They just pick someone on the series and drop it in Bridgerton.
Yeah, I was thinking that if it's someone who's like not as big, it's going to be someone who's already part of the Netflix family.
Makes sense.
Because that just makes it easy. And if you think about like, you were saying you kind of want it to be a newcomer, someone you don't know that well. That was the whole cast. Like, this show changed all of their lives. Even Nicola, you know, being in Dairy Girls, that was kind of like her intro, but it wasn't until Bridgerton that she blew up the way she did. So, and even Jonathan Bailey, he was in a lot of stuff, but it wasn't until he was Anthony that he, you know, became who he is now. So it is exciting to have someone relatively unknown.
Which is nice. I think it's fun because since it's a big show, it's fun to let the chance to newcomer to shine a little, and not always cast the same people.
So in terms of the other characters now, I think we're ready to get to that part. Yeah.
Let's do it. Season 4.
So yeah, it's you know, Ben's season, but
well, I think if season 3 taught us anything, it's that it's never only gonna be about the main couple anymore. Season 2 wasn't even like that, but it felt like it was more about the main couple. But it had side plots as well. But season 3 was really the season when they started to heavily introduce the other siblings.
It's an assembled cast, so it's a show. So if we want them to still be there, they need to add storyline. Like if we still want to have Polin, they need to have a story. So we all do. They can't leave. No.
Will we start with the main season 3 couple?
Let's do it. Let's talk Polin.
Polin.
What's gonna happen in season 4?
We'll be happy.
I just want them to be happy.
I want them to be happy, but I also know, just based on what we saw from To Doom, there's gonna be drama.
It was a down reveal and everything, and the queen probably.
I think that there can be drama for Pen and drama with Lady Whistledown, but
no relationship drama.
Polin will be a
team.
I need Polin to be a team.
I want to see the relation with Portia and Colin. Dealing with the Federico.
Yes.
I want to see, like, some tension between grandma and dad, you know? Like, this is my son, but you don't know how to raise a child, Colin. You're 23 years old.
He's the Lord.
Like,
yeah. And Portia.
Even though Portia went through this growth in season 3, she's not a completely changed person.
She's still Portia.
She's still Portia, and she needs to be. If she's like all of a sudden 100% wholesome, I'm gonna throw a bitch fit.
No.
Yeah,
literally. I thought you were gonna say I'm gonna throw up.
I need problematic Portia in my life.
So I have seen some speculation that there's gonna be some drama with the Queen and Polin. What I don't know if you guys have seen that. I got the hint from that and like the To Doom thing that they dropped, that, you know, things are great now, but they're not going to stay that way. And I put this, I think, on Threads, that I think we're going to see a lot in season 4 of what we saw in the book, of them, like, again, being this team and being kind of Lady Whistledown and sharing this, like, the burden of the secret together. But I am curious because, and I've talked about this a little bit on Threads too, historically, Queen Charlotte dies in 1817. Is she gonna die? They said, I think Jess has said, like, we're not gonna kill her, but like, how do you get away with not killing a historical character when they're supposed to die? I'm really intrigued, like, what you think, because my take is, what if she dies and that's what the drama is like, now society is turning against Lady Whistledown because she doesn't have the Queen's favor anymore. But I think I'm like very alone in that theory because nobody wants her to go away.
I don't think she will die because it's still like a parallel story of the reality. So I think they will take liberty with that, with her life. So maybe the king will die, but the queen, I don't know.
That's interesting.
If the king dies,
that's interesting.
Maybe it's time
that will become king.
You know, we didn't see a king scene in season 3, and I missed that. Especially after having Charlotte. Like, I missed having that one sweet little, here's King George loving Queen Charlotte scene.
This is a season 3 topic that we can talk about another episode, but in general, Queen Charlotte's storyline in season 3 was really underwhelming because it was all about Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
Which now they're running into this problem. You know, Lady Whistledown is revealed. So what is she gonna do now? Does she not have any other interests?
Right.
It's kind of like when a female character is only interested in a man, and that's the only thing she ever talks about.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's Lady
Yeah.
Whistledown, and especially it is weird, especially because they like released Queen Charlotte in between the seasons, so everyone was like probably dying to see some follow up from that. Just one scene.
That's why I think
Yeah.
probably King George will die.
He's gonna die.
because
That's such an interesting theory. Like, are we starting something? Are we putting this out in the universe and people are gonna be like, oh my god, what if
it
that
could make
happens?
sense because if he dies, she's
Yeah.
not queen anymore. She's queen mother. I think.
Yeah.
So it's her son
yeah,
living in
yeah.
King, so she doesn't have the power anymore.
But-
She still have some power, but
But if they're gonna change it that much, and probably a lot of this season is gonna be about like changing the rules. If you're gonna have a possibly bisexual, pansexual Ben, what if she does rule? What
Yeah.
if she
Yeah.
does become
Yeah.
the ruler? Because they kind of made the Prince Regent an idiot. I mean, I don't know if he was historically. I don't know that much, but what if Shonda, call us, put us on the writers team?
And they do also need to kind of follow up on the, I think it's in season 1 to Simon, where Lady Danbury says that, like, yeah, we're in now, but it's at any time we could lose our titles, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a guarantee that we're gonna stay. And then they had season 2, or Queen Charlotte, which was all about that. So they have already established that in the universe, so they do need to kind of follow up on that. What, like, when Queen Charlotte dies or she steps down, her son is white passing, like, what's gonna happen then, you know?
Yeah, well, that also kind of ties into one of my notes, which is what are they going to do with the Mondriches? But they're another black family who have just recently they've just received a title. I
For the
don't really
son,
know how it works, but they've just become titled. So if that is throwing everything kind of into question, then that could impact their plot.
You
as
guys
well.
are blowing my mind.
it could impact
Sorry.
Simon's too.
Yeah.
And a lot.
And by
The Sterling,
association, Daphne and the whole
Daphne,
Bridgerton
Francesca,
clan, like-
John, they're all black people.
Yeah.
Well, I think that like you said, a lot of this season, I guess in terms of theme, is probably going to be about reassessing the status quo and what's allowed and what's not allowed and why things are allowed and why things are not allowed. Because like Emma mentioned in the last episode as well, there was the whole topic of Ben just not being allowed to marry someone of Sophie's perceived status or of Sophie's status. So if that's kind of untangling that in combination with obviously our beloved by Benedict and the fluidity that we're going to explore, then it all does seem to tie together into what's allowed, what's not allowed.
It would also open the door for Francesca's story with Michaela. So we know
Exactly.
it needs to go somewhere with that. So
Yeah, 100%.
Going on to the themes of exploring what's allowed, what's not allowed, and the status quo, Eloise writing to a newly widowed eligible gentleman.
Yeah.
That would not be allowed. That would be a
wasn't
challenge
allowed
of the status quo.
Penelope and Colin though. It still happened.
Listen, we're not talking about
Family
how
friends.
unchaperoned those two are all the time.
On chaperone.
Even
all
in
the
their
time.
letters.
On
Yeah.
chaperone.
So well, let's talk about Eloise.
Eloise. She's going to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long
Before
will
we
she
talk
stay
about
there?
A year?
What will she do there?
I don't know what she's gonna do. I've not read her book. We'll start it before the book club discussion.
My question is, if we start the season at the Masquerade, she's coming back. So she's already been in Scotland for however long. Like,
Yeah.
Are we actually going to get to see her in Scotland, or are we just going to hear about it? Because that sounds like cheap to me. Like, film in
Yeah.
Scotland.
But I
Yeah. I don't think they'll be filming in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
But
I
maybe
just
not this
if they
Are
don't, I will be really disappointed after them. Like the whole ending scene
Yeah.
of them waving, like it was
Yeah.
like such a big goodbye, and then
Yeah.
the first thing you see is just like Eloise on her way back. Like that. That I will know.
Yeah.
That will be my second bitch fit. Like
not
I will throw something.
I don't know if the Masquerade will be necessarily the start of
I think it will be
The
the
end of the
end
episode.
of episode 1.
end of episode 1.
So we'll probably have like a catch up
Yeah.
of where everybody is.
I think we'll have a
Flashback,
little bit of Scotland, if
So.
anything, really. But I don't really know too much about like Elle's book. Pretty much everything that I know at the moment about Elle's story is what I've read about in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and the second epilogue. So I know that she leaves the party to run away and be with Philip. I know that they correspond. I don't know how they start corresponding, so I'm interested to see how that happens in the show. And I'm also interested to see how they handle the Marina of it all.
because
100%.
I've seen a lot of people say that they think it would be really disrespectful to Ruby Barker to kill her off. I don't think they would ask her to come back. I think that you can be respectful of an actress's feelings and mental health without asking them to come back, and while also still following the designated plot for their character if they do it well.
I think so too.
I agree. I think it's less about if they kill her off and more like don't do it the way they did it in the book. That would be disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I think
don't
there's no more Marina story to tell. There's no reason to bring her back except as kind of this like
maybe a flashback or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But other than that,
yeah.
I don't think Ruby Barker would come back regardless,
I think
so they're
they
going to
could-
have to do
They're
it
gonna
without
have
her, to be
to.
honest.
you're gonna have to skip
Or they
it.
could recast her like they
Yeah.
recast Francesca.
You could skip all the suicidal thing and just she's sick and she died. Maybe it could be the easiest way
Yeah.
out, I think, for yeah,
Yeah, like natural
Yeah.
for the
causes.
sickness.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
yeah, in the book, one of Philip's reason for being so attractive to Eloise is how she's in contrast to Marina, who was depressed. They didn't do anything together, And then Eloise, as we all know, is like super social, extroverted, wanting to do things all the time, and that's sort of foreign to Philip. So I don't know how they're going. I mean, they're probably gonna give him another part of Philip's story is his own past, similar to like Simon, with his parents like abusing him, like physically and emotionally abusing him. So I think they're just gonna have to focus on that, and just leave Marina to peace. Like just
She's
have
just
her die of natural causes. Not really
sorry.
mentioning anything that was quote unquote wrong with her.
Right. I laughed at the wrong point. I was laughing because I was thinking they can mention her exactly how they mentioned Daphne, which is like one time, and then you never hear about it, and you're like, what the hell happened to Marina? Where the hell is Daphne? Like, there's precedent for just talking about people who are not on screen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Simon, we've never seen him since season 1 as much as I would love to. I saw someone on Threads, this is definitely not my theory, but, I mean, I didn't come up with it, but I saw someone on Threads say that potentially Philip could write to Colin to advise him that Marina's passed. Because we know that Philip and Colin were sort of friendly, but Philip wouldn't know that Colin no longer lives at home because he lives in the Featherington house now, so maybe Elle sees the letter come through, and that's how she finds out.
So I have a theory about that too, kind of similar. In my head, Eloise goes to Philip to visit because I don't see how they can have their relationship starting with just letters. I just don't see how Eloise how that would be enough for her to just fall in love over just writing emails. True. It seems out of character. So I would like her to be told by Penelope and Colin, who were close to Marina, both of them for different reasons, to go on her way back from Scotland or something. She's going to the masquerade ball, just swing by Philip, send, our regards or whatever, so that there's an introduction there. Because I think her writing to someone who we never saw them interact before, I think it's just out of character. And in the book, it makes way more sense because it's like, what is it, 7 years in between, like from her.
Yes,
You know, the time
And also,
gap.
it was his cousin's husband. Because Marina was the
Yeah, so it's
cousin.
like a family member.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Plus, she's like rejected 7 proposals in the book, which she hasn't in the show.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense that all of a sudden she's like, maybe I should get married. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
So true. So true. And they're they're gonna set up her story, but we'll see so little probably of I don't see it being like Franny and John in season 3.
No.
I think it's gonna be like, because she is such well, and also Franny and John, that's not the story, you know, for Fran. So I think it'll be hinted at, and we're all gonna be like, oh my god, Philip, and then we won't see it till season 5 in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, like maybe what happens is towards the end of the season, or you know, the middle of the season, maybe, may he rest in peace, John passes.
We just want everyone to die. George, Marina, John.
We just want everyone to know that John is dead. But maybe towards the end of her time in Scotland, or maybe towards the middle, John passes, and maybe Elle sees. Yeah. She's obviously seen her mum grieve when she was younger, but now she's seeing like Fran grieve as well, and maybe that spurs her to see Philip when Marina dies, or at least like join Pen and Colin to go and see him for maybe, like, I don't know if they had funerals back then, Marina's funeral.
Probably.
You know?
I love that. I was thinking that too before you started talking, that like it's gonna, if she sees it up close, it's gonna fuck her up. Like, she is, because she doesn't understand love really. Like, she thinks marriage is a trap, or, you know, a societal expectation. But for her to see the love that Fran and John have, and then to see the gut-wrenching pain that Fran will go through when John dies, it's going to change her. And that is probably the catalyst for her story.
You talk about Eloise in love in general, but I think she had a trauma about that because she saw her mother mourn her father, and they were in love. They were like so in love, and her mother had such a difficult time dealing with that. Maybe she's also scared about that, and she don't want to be in a marriage because she don't want to be in love, because she don't want to lose someone like that and suffer too. Like she said, it's societal and everything. It's a trap, but maybe there's something way more than that. I think. Like Colin has his insecurity, so maybe Eloise too. I guess she's not
for sure.
Yeah, I think as well, Elle has a lot of trauma specifically about childbirth and having babies due to obviously what Violet went through. And we see that in season 1. We see it a bit in season 2, because when she talks about marriage, she talks about, like you said, being trapped. So it'll be really interesting to see how they navigate Philip's kids, basically, or, you know, Marina's kids and the twins. And obviously that's a discussion for what we will presume is season 5, Eloise's season. But it'll be interesting to see, I guess, what sort of setup they do for that in season 4.
Daphne's kid, she was like, "Oh, it hasn't changed." Like,
it's one of my favorite lines. I love
Hilarious.
it.
Yeah,
so funny.
But she doesn't have the same relation with Daphne that she had with Polin. Penelope and Colin. So
Benedict
too.
I am so excited for Benedict and Elle's scenes in season 4. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It's so good.
I love their scenes together.
Yeah, I wanted more of that in season 3, but when they got to the swing, I cried my eyes out. I was like, no.
Oh, the swing, classic.
Even though it was 2 seconds long, it was worth it.
I think in season 4, for obvious reasons, we're not gonna see probably like Pen's sisters that much. Like a lot of side characters in season 3 are not gonna be there. And I hope that instead of introducing, I don't mind them introducing a couple of new characters, but like I hope they keep it to a minimum so that we can focus more on the family, because everyone's like, this is the reason why we're watching the show, really. It's just like the family, like the siblings. Like I want to see more of Hyacinth, Gregory, like Violet. Like let's explore the family dynamic instead of
like,
the side characters.
Just seeing Kate and Penelope interact could be nice.
Yeah.
Or even I saw something on, I think it's Tumblr, like have a friendship between Alice and Penelope. since Colin and Will are friends. Because she needs some friend other than Eloise. Eloise won't be there for like a year approximately. So she needs other people in her life than Colin. So,
Franny and John.
Franny and John.
What do we think?
Our favorite couple that are no longer.
I had one more thing that I wanted to add. Potentially during the break while Elle is gone, that could lead the way for a Penelope and Danbury friendship.
Yes.
That we've been wanting. Because she has those like married lady nights. Elle isn't there. Pen's a married lady now. They're friends. Danbury's on her side with the queen. Like, it's possible.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite things in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton too. Their friendship.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Which
and
was
that's
like
what I was
barely
saying
there.
Yeah, earlier about like having stuff in season 4 that's from that book. I think that's another thing we're gonna see, which is like finally, because they've never really interacted until this season. So
I think they opened the door for that at the end of season 3 because she protected Penelope all the season in a way, and since Agatha is friend with Violette, and Violette will be with Marcus, Penelope is now a Bridgerton. I think all will come together in a way.
How does this sound? Violet Anderson.
No.
I can't.
No, I like it.
I like it.
How about Violet Bridgerton Anderson?
Yeah, she'll be the first one to introduce.
Yeah, she's gonna bring the hyphen to the
yes. This show is just getting more modern and modern.
Of course.
But sometime in the story, you can see the lady keep like both her husband.
Smith.
They keep both the name, so she can probably be Bridgerton Anderson.
While we're talking about Violet and Marcus, do we think that is going to be Anthony's plot for the season? Because I remember when we were watching the season 2, like the episode 5 premiere, and they did the cast interviews for like 500 hours. They did ask at one point in the second interview with Ruth about Marcus, and she indicated that one of her kids is gonna have a problem with it, and we kind of saw that with Anthony at the wedding breakfast. But I have been kind of thinking, what could Anthony's role or his plot be, and how would it tie into the rest? So maybe his plot will be dealing with Violet potentially finding love again.
He's probably the one who knows his father the most too, so seeing your mom love another man could be tricky, I think.
I don't think that Kate and Anthony will be in season 4 a lot at all, but I do think that one of her kids will have to have an issue with Marcus. I would love for that to be Gregory. And maybe they, like, now that his father figure is away and he has his own family now, Gregory's kind of left on his own. And Colin, you know what he says in season 3 about, like, I wanted to go drinking with you before you get married. So maybe give Gregory a bigger plot in season 4 and have him have, like, oh, it's like Marcus my new dad now, like how's that gonna work? And maybe see some like Marcus just seems like a really green flag guy, so to have him maybe have some conversations with Gregory would be really nice. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that Anthony will be there for long enough to have a conflict.
Depend on how Jonathan is free for this season.
But if he's James Bond, he's not gonna be free.
Is that a thing? I haven't heard that.
You haven't? Oh yeah,
No.
it's a thing that like
Jonathan,
he's gonna be Bond and Nick's gonna be a Bond girl.
I want to see that for real.
I would watch a James Bond movie for the first
I know,
time
right?
in my life.
I'm sure it will happen after filming Bridgerton, because they are probably Nicola is probably contract for season 4 all the way. So Jonathan, if he doesn't have anything else, probably will also be contract for season 4 too. Because they will come back from India with their kids.
I think we probably will see less of them than we did this season even. Because, you know, the hard part with an ensemble cast is that you have to choose what's driving the story. Like, you can't just, you know, they did have those moments with Kanthony where it's like, they're just here to be cute, but like if we had much more than that, it's not really helping the plot at all. It's just like, okay, this is cute. Like that's because if you think about romance books, that's what they do with these series. They let you see 5 seconds of the happiness from the main characters from the last book, and then that's like all you get. And I think that's like the main reason that Reggae didn't come back, because he's like, I'm not coming back for 5 minutes of screen time over an entire season. So I think that Jonathan is very committed to coming back for whatever capacity. I just don't see that he has enough plot to have more time than he had this season. Whereas Polin, they're still going to have the whole whistle down thing for season 4. And I don't think people, like, respectfully to everyone in this cast, I don't think anyone's going to watch if Nicola leaves the show. Like, I think a lot of people would tap out at that point.
Polin is like the most loved couple for now.
Exactly.
So, and this season is one of the most popular ones they had too. So if Shondaland don't invest in that, they will lose a lot of people.
I think it's very possible that Polin will get the Kanthony treatment more in season 5, but if season 5 is Elle's season, I can't see them having a small part to play. But also, I think that we need to consider budget. I know that it's like a massive show, but Johnny Bailey and Nicola cannot be cheap, especially not at the point of season 5. So I think that's going to come into it as well. Like, I know Johnny and Simone have been very vocal about wanting to come back in whatever capacity that they can, but I think it's also something to consider is like, what capacity did Netflix have to really pay them what they're worth to come back for 5 minutes of screen time, especially if they're not going to have a big impact on the plot itself. As much as I would love to see more married Kanthony, because I love them.
Think about when Nick was doing Dairy Girls and Bridgerton at the same time. I don't know if you guys all seen Dairy Girls? So in the last season, it's filmed at the same time. I think she said like
3 weeks.
There was overlap in the end, and so there were parts of that last season of Dairy Girls where her character was not with the rest of the cast, and they could do that with Polin in general. Like, they can have, filming of them where, of course, they're just alone, and that could be happening, over a week, and then they're just done, and they never even like come to set, basically, or like they only come to one part of set. So it is interesting because they can do that a lot if the main focus of these scenes is just like a happy couple. Like, they can have them come in for a day, get their scenes out of the way, and then they're gone. And it doesn't drive the plot of the show at all, but we get to see our characters happy. So that is a route they could take. I'm sorry to move the conversation, but I really want to talk about Fran and John because I have a question about Michaela. So in the book, we know that Michael and Fran meet at the wedding, and then he's kind of around, and he's there the night that John dies, but like he leaves, first of all, for several years. But I'm really intrigued because I think that as long as John is alive, we're gonna see Michaela. But the second John is out of the picture, we're not gonna see Michaela again until their season. So that also brings an interesting perspective to, is John gonna die halfway through the season? Because then we're gonna lose that character that everyone is so like up in arms about. Like, she's gonna have 5 minutes of screen time the whole season, and I'm gonna laugh at people like, this is really what you chose to be a troll over.
Problem I see with, not that I don't like this idea, but since when John died, it's Michael that got the title. But since it's Michaela, she's not a man, can't have the title. So,
but they say it's different in Scotland.
She can.
That's what I've been seeing a lot of that rhetoric.
Someone did like
online,
Someone did like a bunch of research. I think it was on a Reddit post. I'll try and find it and share it in the Discord. But like the timelines align that in Scotland, women could have the title. So I don't think that'll be a problem. The big thing that I keep seeing people kind of latch onto about the whole Michaela situation is obviously the infertility plot. I haven't read the book. I do want to read the book before the season comes out and before we like discuss it further so that I can be fully informed.
September book club.
Because I've called people out. September book club. I've called people out online for making these arguments when they haven't read the book
Yeah.
themselves. But from what I've heard from like Brian, mostly, shout out to Brian, he's got a mention in every episode so far, as well as just from like recaps I've seen on YouTube, like the infertility plot was added in the second epilogue.
No.
Not part of like the main, it wasn't like a big part of the main plot. Is that correct, or is that not
of the book?
correct?
So I never read it as infertility though, and that's my thing. The way I read it is she, you know, they were only married 2 years. They had just started thinking about having kids, and then he dies. And then her whole reasoning to get remarried is to have kids. I didn't read the second epilogue. I don't know. I didn't read her as infertile. I read it as just like, it takes time to have a baby. Like, most people don't get pregnant like that. But I could have missed something.
But she was pregnant when John died, and she lost the baby.
Oh, she did lose the baby, yes, but that's not infertility. That's infant loss, which she was under a lot of stress, so that makes a lot of sense that she would have lost the baby. But it's a whole different discussion, because infertility is she cannot have children. So I never read that, unless I just skipped it, but I don't remember reading that she was infertile.
I mean, back then they didn't really know difference.
Yeah.
So like they weren't like, oh, but for some it might take 7 years. Like, that's not a reality. It was either you get pregnant as ASAP or you didn't get pregnant at all. Like, it was not like, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Like him.
So yeah, I think the infertility, quote unquote, plot was there from the very beginning when John died, and her whole life was like, and even like the title was all tied to whether she was pregnant or not. Like, it was huge from the like chapter 2 or 3, and then throughout she is kind of happy just being single while Michael is the Lord, and they're not, dating or anything. But then she starts wanting kids. Like, she sees her sibling with happy kids. The first epilogue is her happily married to Michael, not needing kids. Like, she's like happy that it's just the two of them. She's, in her head, it's all good. And then the second epilogue is where the miracle baby, if you want to call it that, happens. The second epilogue, we could just not take that into consideration. Like, it is a nicer story that she's just like, it makes no sense anyway that all these Bridgertons have so many kids and so few miscarriages. Like, statistically it doesn't make any sense. So it would be nice if someone didn't have a freaking baby.
And also, to me, it's like, they change so much. What if she has a baby? What if when she's married, she has a baby, and the plot becomes she and Michaela are now raising this child,
Yes.
Like,
who is Lord Kilmartin?
Exactly. But that has nothing to do with season 4, because I don't think any of this is going to happen before their season.
Well, unless Fran
she has a kid,
in
which would
season
be
4
very
with John,
interesting.
and then there's like an heir, so then he dies, and she has to raise this, but she doesn't know how. But maybe Michaela knows how to be a
lord. I don't think it will go that way, because it will be like the second couple to have to raise their hair, but maybe the third, because we have Penn and Cullen. We have Lord Kent, the son of Will and Alice. He is growing up more, but it's still a kid, so they have to like train him to be a lord. And you have John and
and it doesn't have to be a boy.
Yeah, it can be, if it's a girl, okay.
It can be a girl who, and then the title passes to either Francesca or Michaela. So one of them is still the heir while the baby's just there.
But it's still kind of the same plot, so I'm not sure they will go that way. I don't see that.
I wouldn't put it past them to repeat a plot, though, like, respectfully. I love this show.
And it's they can frame it differently.
There's a lot of overlap.
I think in general, in romance, it's incredibly difficult. Like, you're not going to find a super unique story line. And that's not what we want. Like, we want the expected. We want the happily ever after. We want, friends to lovers or enemies to lovers. Friends to lovers? Friends to lovers, enemies to lovers. Like, we want it to be kind of.
And it, like, Fran and Michaela are friends to lovers. So it's the same plot as Polin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think. Even Hyacinth and Gareth, they're friends to lovers. Like, you can't not repeat tropes.
Yeah.
There's not enough tropes to not repeat them. So it's possible.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, maybe we did a little bit. Let's talk about Lady Danbury. I feel like we talked about the Queen, but what's Lady Danbury going to be up to this season?
I think she's just going to be helping Ben a lot, and maybe sorting through Queen Charlotte's whatever's happening with her at the time, like whether she's just extra bored or if George is dead or whatever the case is. And then I think also probably a bit to do with Marcus and Violet and
maybe she will
on with
with Sophie too, Sophie's family.
Yeah,
because it's
maybe she knows who Sophie is and she just keeps her mouth shut the whole time.
I don't know.
I think if we go back to this, the king dies idea, and the Queen has, we have to redefine what society is. I think she's going to be a huge molder in this fan fiction that we're writing that is possibly season 4. She would be a huge shaper because that woman has given her life to make sure the great experiment happens. I don't see her going down without the biggest bitch fight to make sure that her people don't lose anything that she has given them. Because she really has. When you go back and watch Queen Charlotte, she did that shit. So I think if the king dies or whatever happens with Queen Charlotte, she is going to be really the kind of head honcho of making sure that society doesn't change for her people.
And I would absolutely love it if she just told Queen Charlotte what's up to, because in Queen Charlotte this season, it's like, she's so new as a friend to Charlotte that she's trying to mold her, but she can't really speak openly. Like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Like, because Queen Charlotte is so naive, even as a teenager, and she's still naive. Like, no one's really telling her the truth. So I would love for Lady Danbury to finally be like, you know what? I'm just going to tell it like it is. Like, you need to realize that there are bigger things in the world than your zebras and, peacocks.
And sparklers.
And your wigs, too.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, bitch, if you don't take that wig off, please.
Yeah. And by the way, Marie Antoinette is a C word.
Totally unrelated. All right. Well, do you want to talk about setting at all?
I do.
Okay.
I do wanna talk about setting, because I feel like in season 4 we are gonna get a big change in where we are located, and it's going to be the start of all the other seasons also at some times taking place outside of Mayfair, outside of the town. Well, some of the later books like Hyacinth and Gregory, they're set in London, but all the others are like set outside of London. So I'm super excited, because to me, as like a period drama lover, it is a lot about the countryside. Like when you watch other like Austen movies or basically any period dramas, they're not set during the season in London. They go there every now and then to be presented, and then they go back to their like country homes. But most of the time the plot is set like in the country. But Bridgerton has been the opposite, where they're always in London, apart from season 2 a little bit. So I'm just really excited for a more like a change in vibe in general. You're gonna get the extravagant, like the masquerade is gonna like blow everyone's mind, but also some like just more picturesque scenes, like slower tempo maybe. Like you'll have Scotland, you have Benedict's cottage. If it's called My Cottage, we don't know yet.
Well, too. And probably the Featherington estate.
Yeah, that would be fun to see. I don't think we've seen that.
Yeah, even like Philip's place again.
In my head, Philip's place is like my dream home. He has like this like huge greenhouse, and back in the days it was like obviously glass. and probably curved.
Mhm.
Oh,
Spoiler alert!
lush.
I see
Beautiful.
someone, because they already filmed previous season at Philip Estate,
Yes.
and someone
Yeah.
found online that this place
Yeah.
is closed for people from September to December.
So
They might be filming there, so-
This, yeah, just follow us on YouTube and Spotify for all these news. Yeah.
Oh,
You can't find it
It's all
anywhere
in the
else.
Discord season
Only from
four
us.
channel.
so
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Exclusive to our season 4 channel in Discord.
Guys, for real though, if the king dies, like they owe us royalties because we are.
This
sick.
episode is gonna
Yeah.
be called "The King Died."
Oh yeah, on the
Yeah.
thumbnail,
King
it's like
George
Rip
died.
King George.
Never mind, John. The king is gonna die.
The king is dead. Long
Yeah.
live the queen. Well, this has been a great chat. I think that we have come up with a wonderful season 4 that Shondaland would be proud of. So
And in
reach
the
out,
next-
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, in the next 2 years, we'll probably come up with a lot more theories. Saying that, though, I
Oh, yeah.
remember when the trailer for part 2 came out, and I was so confident. I was like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what they're gonna do in episode 6. They're gonna do the blah blah blah." That none of that happened. So
Me too.
yeah,
Well, King George is dead. Long live the queen.
King George is dead. Yeah, R.I.P.
This has been the
Rest
Romantic
in peace.
Wallflowers. Rest in peace. Thank you.
Rest in peace, King
This
George.
has been the Romantic Wallflowers, Stars and Prayers.
Yeah, sorrows,
Sorrows.
prayers.
Prayers.
Have a
Okay.
wonderful night, everyone.
You sound so sexy.
Oh my god! I'm glad
To
you're
all
still
the truckers
recording.
out there. 2 a.m.
Have a wonderful evening,
Yes,
gentlemen.
ma'am.
This is how we're gonna solve our single problem. We're gonna get the truckers.
Oh my god, I just inhaled a feather.